Hey guys, Telegram Sam here. If you don't already know, I have an Instagram. It's telegram_Sam_vinyl. So if you're on Instagram, check me out on there. I just want to start out this video by saying thank you to everyone for all the well wishes. For those of you who didn't know, I was very, very sick pretty much this last week and a half. Luckily, it wasn't COVID, which is what I originally thought it was when I started to get sick. I think it was just a really bad case of the flu. But yeah, it sucked. And I'm glad to be back and I'm feeling a lot better. So yeah, that's why there wasn't a video last week. Again, thank you for all the well wishes, good vibes, prayers, whatever you believe in. That definitely helped me. But yeah, let's get into it. I feel still kind of have a bit of brain fog, obviously. So sorry if this isn't the best video, but still want to show you guys some great albums I've gotten recently. This first bunch of records were sent to me by a viewer of mine named Jesse. He reached out to me and said he had some stuff that he wanted to send me. I was like, sure, I would love to acquire your records. So these are the big bunch of records he sent me. First off, we got Bush Doctor by Peter Tosh. This is the original 1978 US press. I don't really have that much reggae in my collection. I know Peter Tosh is very well respected. It's kind of part of the roots reggae genre of early reggae pioneers. This was his third album, and this was done on the Rolling Stones division of the Atlantic. And I think Keith and Mick play on a few songs on here. I mean, Keith plays guitar, Mick sings on a song. But yeah, I'm excited to dig into this, discover more reggae. Maggie's in the background snooping. I was really, really excited about this. This is Stop Making Sense, the soundtrack by the Talking Heads. I mean, pretty much everyone has come to an opinion that this is one of the greatest live concerts / albums ever. Me and my mom, when she was here, we recently watched it together. It's just so amazing. Like, even nearly 40 years after it was first filmed, I feel like you could still put on a show like that and it would still have that great importance, and it's just amazing. I just love it so much. And I've been dying to get the soundtrack. And this is actually an original 84 Philippines press of the soundtrack. If you're not familiar with Talking Heads, great rock, new wave, post-punk sort of deal. Yeah, love this. Next up, a band I'm not really familiar with. This is Cupid Psych 85 by Skritty Polity. I think that's how you say that. Original 1985 US press. This is described as synth pop electronic. This was their second studio album. I haven't listened to this yet, so I don't know how great it is, but 80s music to me, especially when it comes to like pop, synth pop, is either really good or really cheesy and really bad, so we'll see which side of the spectrum that ends up falling on. This one's pretty cool. This is the Metallica's self-titled album, or the Black Album. This is originally came out in 1991, and this is the 2021 Walmart US press exclusive. I describe this rock heavy metal. This was their fifth album. You don't really have Metallica. The only other album I have from them is their Kill 'Em All album, which is my personal favorite of Metallica's. Yeah, it's weird because I grew up listening to Metallica. My brother and my dad really loved Metallica, but for some reason I just never really listened to them that much. Definitely prefer pretty much everything from this album and before. I don't really like anything after this album. But yeah, I haven't listened to this in a very long time, so I'm excited to listen to it. And all the Walmart exclusives came on really cool color vinyl, so this is like a smoky, grayish brown vinyl, I would say. This one's really cool. This is Coal Miner's Daughter by Loretta Lynn. This is an original 1970 US press. Great country folk artist. I've been meaning to add some Loretta Lynn to my country collection. This was her 16th solo album. I remember watching the movie Coal Miner's Daughter a lot with my mom, and they used to play on CMT all the time. But yeah, I'm not really familiar with Loretta Lynn's work, but I've been wanting to get into her, and this is a cool start. Another addition to the Elton John collection. This is his greatest hits album. Originally came out in 1974, and this is a 1979 German press. You got Goodbye Yellow Brick Road, Saturday Night, Rocket Man, Candle in the Wind, Don't Let the Sun Go Down on Me, Crocodile Rock. Probably one of the better known greatest hits albums. I'm pretty sure like everyone should just have this in their collection, even if they're not that big of an Elton John fan, just want some of his better known songs. This is the way to go. This one's really cool. This is the Donna's self-titled album. This originally came out in 1997. I think this is a recent repress, US press. Couldn't find a year. But I would describe them, especially this album, like garage, rock, lo-fi, punk. Sort of their like stuff they released after the 2000s, kind of just like more mainstream rock. But this was their debut album. I don't know if I said that, but I've been meaning to get into the Donnas. I always hear about them, but I've never really listened to them. So another artist I know of but haven't really listened to. This is The Jazz Singer by Neil Diamond. This is original 1980 US press, soft rock, folk rock. I'd say it's Neil Diamond's sort of wheelhouse, kind of poppy too. But yeah, this was at the time Neil's biggest selling album, and this movie I guess was very highly panned. It did not do well. This is kind of like the second case of where like Neil did a movie and the movie did really badly, but the album did really good. And he actually got the first ever Razzie Award for the worst performance by an actor in a movie, so that's also kind of some movie history. But yeah, the only other Neil Diamond song I know is the song Girl, You'll Be a Woman Soon, and that's just because of the Urge Overkill cover that is on the soundtrack to Pulp Fiction. So I'm not really familiar with Neil Diamond's work, but I guess this is a good start to see if he's someone I want to get into. Next up, we have Back in Black by Ecdc. This is original 1980 US press, is very well loved. Hard rock, their 7th album and their first album, featuring Brian Johnson as the singer. I am not the biggest fan of Brian Johnson era AC/DC. I love the Bon Sky era AC/DC, and that's most of the AC/DC I currently have. I don't really plan on collecting any other Brian Johnson era AC/DC albums besides this one. I've been meaning to get this one. This is kind of the only one I really like. But yeah, I don't know. Something about his voice, and I feel like just what everyone else says about, AC/DC is that every song and album sounds the same. Yeah, I just don't care to have that. So, not as diehard as some other people are. Next up, we got Welcome to My Nightmare, Alice Cooper, original 1975 US press. Just such a great, just straight up rock album. This was his first solo album. The albums before this one were mainly a band effort, and I think this was the only album he did for Atlantic, but this was like a concept album about a young boy, Stevens, sort of just going through his nightmare, which I love, and even features Vincent Price doing some weird narrative story telling throughout the album. But yeah, really excited to have more Alice in the collection. Then we got a couple Linda Ronstadt records. This is Heart Like a Wheel, original 1974 US press. I mean, Linda Ronstadt is one of the greatest female singers ever. Great rock, folk, country. She mainly did like all covers. This was her 5th album. And then next up is Living in the USA. This is her 9th album. This is original 78 US press. Next up, we got more Beatles, Let It Be. This one has been talked about quite a lot the last 6 months to a year, considering the big remaster reissue they did and the whole 6-hour behind the scenes thing that's on Disney Plus. Let It Be, the Beatles. That's the original 1970 US press. great pop rock, their 12th and final studio album. Billy Preston plays keyboards on here, which is really dope. Not my favorite Beatles record, but you know, it has Across the Universe, which is up there as one of my favorite Beatles songs. Let It Be, another Maggie May. I actually had no idea there was a Maggie May besides the Rod Stewart song. The Long and Winding Road, Get Back. But yeah, it's my first time listening to this album in full, and yeah, Phil Spector's sort of renowned wall of noise definitely drowns out the vocals in some songs. Besides that, this album still sounds really great. Next up, I Just Can't Stop It by the English Beat. I think in Australia they were called like the British Beat, but in England they were just called the Beat. In America they were called the English Beat. Don't know why they did that. I don't know if maybe there was bands that already had the name the Beat prior. I don't know. But this is original 1980 U.S. press. Great rock, pop, ska. Yeah, the only other sort of the two-tone era of like British ska music in the late 70s and 80s I'm familiar with are the Specials, so I was kind of excited to finally listen to something besides them. This was their debut album. I really dig this. I really liked this more than I thought I would, because I'm kind of more used to like the 90s ska when it kind of got like really cheesy and bad, but this is really great. I really dig this. Next up, probably one of the ugliest covers ever. This is by John Cougar Mellencamp. This is the original 1983 U.S. press. Great pop rock. I'm not necessarily the biggest John Cougar Mellencamp fan, but I do like this album and a lot of the songs that are on here, like Crumbling Down, Pink Houses, Jackie O, which I think is a John Prine song. Or he like wrote it with John Prine. Yeah, but this album cover, it's just so bad. Like, why would he approve this? This is just, he almost looks like an anime character. It just looks so bad. John Cougar, what were you thinking? But yeah, I dig this, and I do want to get Scarecrow. That's another album I really like from him. He really has some good albums in the late 70s, early 80s. But yeah, that was all Jesse sent me. Thank you so much again, Jesse. That was too kind of you. So the stuff I bought myself. First up, we got the 7 inches. First, we got We're Gonna Love by Sir Winston and the Commons. Songs on here were originally recorded in 1966 and 67, and this is a 1999 U.S. press of those. I believe they were originally not released, but great garage rock, sort of lost band from the 60s. They were based in Indianapolis. I mean, their tour bus was a hearse. Like, how cooler can you get? But yeah, I really dig this. They have the songs We're Gonna Love, Come Back Again, Not the Spirit of India, and One Last Chance. They kind of remind me of like Odyssey and Oracle era zombies. At least that's kind of the impression I got. Really, really dig this. I love these like 90s Sundays comps of sort of lost 60s garage bands. I think they're really cool. I have a couple more of them. Next up, we got Friday Night Dance Party / The Girl Can't Dance by Lynn and the Rayman featuring Bunker Hill. Originally recorded in 1962, and this is a 1996 U.S. press. Great rock, rockabilly, kind of features some soul through a Bunker Hill. I know, I love anything and collect anything Link Ray, so I had to get it. Next up, we have this Depeche Mode single. I've been kind of going through a Depeche Mode phase recently. This is Strange Love and Behind the Wheel. This is original 1989 US press. Great electric synth pop. Depeche Mode era. I think the version of Strange Love is a remix, so it's kind of interesting. But actually, I guess these are kind of rare. This was like the only version ever pressed. and most of them were pressed or like were on cassettes. They weren't on 45, so yeah, that's cool. Next up, we got 2 by Gen Pop. This is original 2018 U.S. press. It's funny because I actually read about this in one of the zines Sean sent me a while back ago, Maximum Rock and Roll. I was reading about this album and I just happened to see it at Lilacs here in Portland and I decided to get it. But great post-punk rock. This is their 3rd EP. I really dig it. It's, the best way I can describe it is like if you were to mix like early 90s Sonic Youth with like Minor Threat. Really dig it. Some songs are a bit more hardcore punk, some songs are a bit more noise rock, alternative, some songs are a perfect mix of both. I really, really enjoy this. Want to get more EPs from them. Next up, we got Angel of Madness by District Hampton and the Wolves from Hell. This originally came out in 1978, and this is a 2013 U.S. press. Great, just straight up rock, punk. This was the only release from the band, and the original 7 inches that came out in 1978 go for upwards of like $500. Crazy. The best way I can describe them is if Ecdc would have gone to like more punk, like Ecdc mixed with like the Dead Boys. The singer sounds a lot like Bon Scott. He even kind of looks like Bon Scott. That's him in the middle there. But I really dig this. I just kind of bought it based off of the cover, and yeah, just a cool collection to my obscure punk. And next up, this is the last of the Sub Pop singles for 2021. This is The End of Everything by the Black Tones. Came out last month. Rock, alternative, indie punk, I would say. The band was founded by a pair of twins, these two, and they have been releasing music since 2018. And out of all of the Sub Pop singles that came out for the 2021 collection, this one is definitely up there as one of my favorites. I really dig it. And this one just came on this sort of kind of like a magenta-y red, translucent 45. Alright, on to the long plays. First up, we got Early Morning Onwards by Barclay James Harvest. This is a 1972 UK press. And I describe them as like art rock, symphonic rock. They kind of have like a blood, sweat, and tears thing going for them. But this is a comp of material that was recorded between 1968 and 72. I don't know, I just thought this really cheap. It was in really great condition, and I just decided to take a chance on it. I really dig it. Yeah. Barclay James Harvest. Next up, an album I've seen so many times but have kind of always passed up on, but I just decided to get it because it was in really great condition. This is the self-titled album by The Tubes, 1975 U.S. press. Great pop rock, glam, art rock. This was their debut album. I mainly know The Tubes from the song White Punks on Dope, which I really love. But I was surprised how much I enjoyed this. They kind of remind me a lot of like Sparks, especially 70s era Sparks, but kind of more of like a punk glam influence rather than sort of the straight up art rock, sort of like Roxy music thing during that time. But yeah, I really dig them. I'd probably get more of their later albums, later 70s albums, if I ever saw them in the wild. But this is actually still in the shrink when I got it, so that's pretty dope. Next up, we got Bail Out for Fun by Max Ann. This is a 1974 U.S. press. Great R&B, soul, funk. This was their 3rd album, and Max Ann originally started out her singing career as being a part of the Ecdc in the 60s, and then she went on to form her own band to do her own solo thing. In the 70s, I think she only released 4 albums ever throughout the 70s. But I really dig this. It reminds me a lot of like pre There's a Riot Going On era Sly and the Family Stone, Really great mix of pop, rock, soul, funk. Really like this, and it was super cheap. And it's from the Brotherhood Broadcasting from Portland, which through doing some research, I found out was like a short-lived, like black station in Portland. I think they were only around for like 2 or 3 years before they went bankrupt and ended up just shutting their microphones down, unfortunately. But yeah, it's just a cool thing that I ended up finding out through this record. Next up, we got Get the Picture by The Pretty Things. This originally came out in 1965. This is a 2000 US press. Great blues rock garage album. This is their second album. I've been hearing a lot of The Pretty Things throughout the VC. More of their late 60s stuff tends to be talked about. I haven't really seen anybody else show some of their earlier work. But yeah, I just, again, saw this for super cheap. Have been meaning to listen to them. It has this, like, great sort of inner gatefold that explains, like, the background, some of the songs. Like, Jimmy Page co-wrote one of the songs on here. I think it's You Don't Believe Me. And then there's also, like, the true tales of the Pretty Things, and it talks about when, Viv got KO'd in a show in Copenhagen, so that's kind of cool. But yeah, these Norton reissues sound really awesome. And then last but not least, I have been meaning to bulk up my Prince collection since the only other album before this that I had was Purple Rain. This is a Sign of the Times by Prince, original 87 US press. Great soul, pop, rock, funk. There's just like a little bit of everything on this album. His ninth studio album and the first album he did after the Revolution disbanded, which was his original backing band. But a lot of the musicians on here do show up on this album. But man, this is definitely up there as one of his greatest. I just really loved it. One of my mom's all-time favorite Prince songs, Starfish and Coffee, is on this album, and like Ballad of Dorothy Parker is a good one too. Hot Thing, You Got the Look, If I Was Your Girlfriend, The Cross, It's Gonna Be a Beautiful Night, Adore. There's just like no bad song on this album. I just love it. Yeah, definitely need to bulk up the Prince collection more because he just released so much great work, and it's a shame I only have 2 of his albums so far. So yeah, that was all the stuff I got these last 3 or 4 weeks since I've been MIA. But yeah, thanks again for watching. I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye.